Now, the whole completing the square thing, right? So before I truly understand completing the square, I would say, why would I need it? Just factor it. If you cannot factor it, just go ahead and use the quadratic formula, right? That works, and that will work. But what I do realize after learning completing the square is that I just don't want to memorize the quadratic formula. I mean, I know it by heart, but I just don't want to memorize it. So what I can do is something like this. I can solve for x by using quadratic formula, and this is an idea that you want to have. Well, solving means what? To get the value so that we can have a true statement. Now, another thing you should also take care is that currently we have two copies of x. One here, one there. At the end, we are going to have x equals to a number. So the question is, how on earth are we going to make two copies of x into one copy of x? And by doing the completing square, we can say, let's go ahead and divide this number by 2, which is 4, and you square that, and you add it. Now, in this case, you would add it on both sides because we can work on both sides. We don't have to add and subtract on the same side, okay? And by doing so, you can now go ahead and have x plus 4 squared, and then you have plus 14 on the right. And look at this transition. You went from 2 copies of x to 1 copy of x. And from here, you can just say, oh, I don't need a square. You take the square root and make sure that it is plus or minus square root. And what is x? So you look at this, and now from my personal learning experience, I would rather do this than plugging into my quadratic formula. I mean, quadratic formula is safe, but it's lengthy, it's tedious, it's memory. But this one is, you understand why you want to create a perfect square, you learn how to create a perfect square, and there's a lot less memory to worry about. And if you are aiming to take high-level math like pre-calc and calculus, you want this. You want this, okay? This is not a choice, actually. You want this because it will come to you if you don't go to them, okay? So that's why I always emphasize the elegance of completing square. I did not learn it well after 2 trials. I mean, in the first 2 trials, I only learned it well after the 3rd time. So I wish you can do better than I did back in the days.